Hello, Facebook. All right. Well, welcome to day 6. That's right. It's hard to believe it's already day 6 of our 7-day challenge. So, today, I guess for starters, let me just start there. My name is Jeff Krahl. I'm an international business consultant, certified high performance coach, and best selling author of The Fifth Powerful Relationships. That's the 5 key secret powers of finding your soulmate. And I'm excited about today because we got so many great things I'm going to be coaching with. We have a guest speaker today. So we're going to jump right into it today and get right into it. So just a few little reminders. Remember that it's not too late to jump into the challenge. So, you can still go back and watch the training and the coaching. All you have to do is go to soulmatechallenge.com. I highly recommend working on finding a partner or a friend to go through the challenge together with each other, and watch the videos and interact with each other. I think that always makes a huge difference when you have that live person next to you to do that with. So, still got time to do that. So reach out to people, send this off, soulmatechallenge.com. These trainings will be up again till tomorrow, and then they'll be gone. So you definitely want to, maybe have a party tonight and watch them all. So whatever works best for you and your friend, do that, and again, please share these with others. Don't forget to comments. So posting your comments is going to make a huge difference. So the questions that you have, where you get stuck, anything that I've done from day 1 to day 5, submit those questions. We will deal with those during our Q&A part. And like I said, today we got a lot to cover. So we're going to jump right into it now. And let's see here. I'm going to start. I'm going to put my PowerPoint up so you guys can see everything. So we're in day 6 of the challenge. And I want to know in the comments, like, tell me, where you're from, put your name, where you're from. You can also put either a comment like, this is what I've gotten so far, or here's a question I have, whatever that works. Love to hear those things. And again, welcome to the 7 days to finding your soulmate challenge. I'm super excited about what's coming up today. So let's jump right into it. And here's what we got on the agenda and the topics for today. So today we're going to talk about dating. So we've talked about a lot of things in the past. Now we're getting into the dates, like when you're actually dating, how do you do that? And what questions, where do you get stuck, and all sorts of things in there. And that's the topic for today. And I'll be covering that so you get a really good sense. And then I'll have a guest speaker today as well. Before we do that Q&A, or depending on the time, we'll either do it before Q&A or after. But definitely want to make sure that you don't miss that. So I think I posted some things on Facebook for you guys as well, so that you definitely can know more about that. All right, so let's jump right into today's training. So dating is a topic. And before we get there, we've got our famous part where, being a coach. This is the things that I love about being a coach and hate about being a coach. And that's one of the things that people as well that I coach, it's a love-hate relationship, because I have to ask them, did you do the homework? Like, did you really actually go back and do what I said? Or did you just say, oh, you know what? I kind of know that. I've already done something like that and didn't do anything, and just waiting for me to give you that magic pill. Well, the magic pill doesn't happen, and you're in a different place. And everything that I've shared with you has put you into a different place. So you want to do the homework now, because you're doing the homework in a way that you've never done it before, because you've now have this other items that we've talked about and coached, your thoughts, you're in a whole different place in your life. So if you did the homework, congratulations, in being that extraordinary person and doing that. I mean, not everyone can honor their words to do that. And if you didn't do the homework, I'm sure you had lots of great reasons, good justifications of why not. And that is pretty normal in the world today. People all the time justify and they give a lot of reasons why they didn't do something that they know could make a huge difference in something that they matter. And that's pretty normal. So you got to ask yourself, do you want to be normal or do you want to be extraordinary in your life? So this is your opportunity. If you did the homework, great. If you didn't, go back and do it now. Write them all down, get those things done. Again, this is super beneficial if you do them. And, don't make yourself wrong about it, right? Like, have fun with this. It's I'm giving you the new start of the homework. It starts today. It didn't start day one when we talked about it. Started today, and these are the things you need to do. So go back, watch day one through day 6 now, and do the homework so you're ready for day 7. All right, so let's jump right in today. And we're going to talk about, setting up the dates. I think that's very important. So before you go on dates, there's always that setting up part. And I think this is really crucial. And this is a part that most people either, forget to do, or they either forget to do this part or they do it wrong. Like they may, I mean, how many of you have ever, got on a call for the first time with someone and you talk for hours? Well, you shouldn't do that. Right? I mean, what are you going to talk about on the date, right? So setting up the date is crucial. And I'm going to go some tips here that I think are very key that I learned along the journey and have helped others really master this. And it's very important to do that, because I think when you do that, you're definitely, setting yourself up to have a great date. So first, number one, do your homework about the person, right? I mean, in today's world, there is so much data that we can pull on people. You can look at their Facebook site, their social media sites, their LinkedIn site, you can look at their business site. They say what's about them and what they like and what they enjoy. And if you met them through a dating site, did you go through all that? And does that match all the other stuff that they say, on their website or on their Facebook site or wherever? Go through and do that. I mean, do your homework. This is crucial. I mean, you're looking for your soulmate, someone you want to spend a lot of time with. So if there's data out there about them, learn that, right? It'll give you a sense of some of the things you may or may not want to ask question for on the date. Maybe there's something on there you didn't like that you could just ask a clarifying question to find out, is that true? Is that not true? And so on. And it's good because if you know those things right in the beginning, you want to ask them now before you go on the date so you don't waste time. I mean, how many of us have wasted time on dates? If you really just think about it, I mean, have you gone on some dates and then said, in the middle of the date or in the beginning of the date, like, why am I on this date? I mean, that's the kind of things that happen when you don't set yourself up for the date right. So the first little tip to really help you could easily be is something as doing your homework and, finding out everything you can about this person. So if you guys have questions, don't forget to put comments in. You can do it, or any questions that you have as well. Do that. I will take a look at them. I know we have some coming in so far. So, all right. Number 2. So that's number one. Do your homework and really utilize today's technology, right? Like make that happen. I think that's crucial, and so on. All right. So, second thing, confirm and qualify the person. I know this is a date and you want it to be just, casual or just, natural and so on. And that's all good. But when you're dating, you also want to make sure you're not wasting your time. I mean, if you're truly out to committed yourself to find your soulmate, then you don't want to waste time with other dates. You've already done that, months ago, years ago, decades ago for some people. Like you've dated for so long that you don't even you've been dating without that ability to really be committed to finding your soulmate, or you've just been dating the wrong people for a long time. So confirm or qualify the person. So what do I mean by that? Well, it kind of goes back to doing your homework. If there's any questions there that you're a little uncertain about that person, that would be a good time to ask those questions. The other thing is to confirm that they meet your top 5 qualities. Like you just ask them. You say, so Susie said that you're the type of person that has a really steady career. You're the type of person that loves to exercise. In fact, she was telling me how you go to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, and then she was saying that you're always up to like elevating your yourself. She was saying you're always doing these self-help groups or self-help programs or reading self-help books or entrepreneur things, and you're always pushing yourself to that next level and always exploring like how you can be that better person. And then she was telling me that that you really have a great sense of humor, and that you love to play and have fun, and that you really want to have a family in the next few years. Like you're really ready to like have a family, settle down, and find that right person, and so on. Is that all true? Right? And then shut up and just let them talk, right? Like really let them speak about all that. More than likely they're gonna go, wow, is that what Susie told you? Like, yes, that is me, absolutely, and that's important that you do that. Or you could do them slowly, right? You could say, yeah, Susie was telling me that you're really athletic and you just love to go to the gym and that you like to play tennis. And is that true, or is that something that you do a lot? And then she'll be like, yeah, or he'll be like, yes, right? Either way, you want to confirm and qualify that person. And I think that's crucial. And this is a step I think people miss, and they just go out on the date to figure this out versus, getting it solved now in a little 5 minute less conversation so that they can spend the time on the date going deeper in those areas. Like, so what gym do you go to, and how long have you been going there, and what sort of programs do you do when you're there, and all sorts of things you can go deeper in the date with. But why do that now? Right now you just want to make sure, is that true, is that not? No, I don't even like to exercise. In fact, and this does happen. I know when a few times when people I was coaching, they're like, it's amazing how they say, no, it's not. That isn't me. And that's so true, because if it isn't, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, I don't want to waste your time. Like when someone would tell me like, oh yeah, I don't really want a family. I just want to, meet someone and have a good time and just enjoy life. I'd say that's fantastic. I just want you to know I'm really just committed to having a family and finding that special person and my soulmate. And I don't want to waste your time. So I know Susie said we might be a good match to get together, but it sounds like we're kind of on different paths, and that's okay. I'll let and so why don't we not go out on a date? And I think that's very, very crucial that you say those things, because why bother spending that time? I've already done that multiple times where I've just wasted time around that, and I think the more you do that, the harder it is for that piece to happen. And I think again, it's a crucial piece, and it saves tons and tons and tons of time, and that's important. I think, I don't know about you, but when you're out there dating, looking for your soulmate, you don't want to waste time. There's too many things, like we talked about in day one, that make me happy, that I want to do in my life, that I don't have time to go on wasteful dates. I want dates to be meaningful, and I want to make sure that they really truly do actually, fit in the realm of someone that could be my soulmate, could be the one. I truly believe that, and I stuck to it, and I think that's very, very key, is that you stick to your top five. You don't settle for three and then go out on a date to find out the other two. No, they have five, or you just don't go out on the date. I went on 43 dates, in 120 days. And there was a few, second dates. There's really 32 dates, individuals that I went out on dates with. And it's crucial that, it, it's just crucial that you say no, because there's many other dates I was introduced to, but I didn't go out on those dates. I only went out on those 32, and dated a few of them a couple times to clarify some things and really make sure that I was their fit for them as well. And I just needed more time with them, and that was fine. And, so overall 43 dates in 120 days, but that was all with people that met my top five. I didn't, I always qualified them. That was crucial that I did that. So the other thing, keep this short, right? When you're doing this, make these calls, keep them short. Keep this qualifying short. Like, don't go deep, like I said earlier, like where you start to say, well, where do you work out? And how long have you been there? And what kind of workout do you do? And all those things. Don't do that there. Do that on the date. Okay. Because you don't want this call to be long. You really want it to be mysterious. Okay. And that makes the date more effective for both of you when it's mysterious like that. So just keep that in mind. I know from a guy's perspective, not knowing much about her, and except for the core things that matter to me, and then ready to go. It's exciting because I'm just excited to explore everything and learn so much about her, that it makes a really good date. And then on the other side for her, again, same thing. If she doesn't know much about me, it's kind of like, I can't wait to meet this guy and start to learn about him and so on, versus I already know a lot about him. He's already told me a ton of stuff. So do I really want to go on this date? Maybe not. I'll just call and cancel with him. So that's okay too, but I'd much rather have that done right there on the call. And if you make that, if it's a fit for you, then you definitely just want to get to the date, so that you can really spend that time and find out, are you a fit for them, and are they a fit for you? Because the likelihood is they didn't do all the homework that you did to really get clarity on, exactly what your top five qualities are. And most people don't have that. They haven't narrowed it down. They're not crystal clear. They haven't practiced knowing what to say and how to say that. They haven't really done what you've done, in all these day 1 to 5. So just keep that in mind when you're talking to them. You got to put yourself into their shoes. And when you do that, it really gives you a sense to connect with them and bond with them. And that's why, again, you just want to make this short, quick, move to the next step. All right. The other thing is, you want to have a few items or a few times and places ready to go, so that when you're on the call, you can just say, I got to go now, but I want to set the time for us. Does Thursday at 3 o'clock, or, Friday at 7 o'clock, or Monday at noon work for you? Great. I've got a couple places I love to go to. And let me tell you just about places. I mean, I'm a traditional guy, so I like to, take you out, or take the woman out and go to a, dinner and so on. But man, after about 5 or 6, 7 dates in, a week, I started to realize that's a lot of money. It was starting to pick up. So, and even on the woman's side, you kind of want to, split the date and so on, and that kind of thing. A lot of women do that, and I think that's great. But the bottom line is, I think coffee's the best probably thing. Go get some ice cream and walk around a park, or do something where you can interact. I live in San Diego, so it's kind of like I can go to Balboa Park and go for a walk. We can have coffee at a nice quiet coffee shop. We can go grab some a coffee, or ice cream, and just walk down the boardwalk, hang out at the beach. There's all sorts of things to do here, but wherever you're at, you just got to find out what those things. The key is that it's quiet. Okay, you need a quiet area, because that's what's going to make the biggest difference when it comes to it. Is you want that area to be quiet, where you can interact and you're not getting interrupted. And if you have a waiter that comes to you, if you are in a restaurant that's a little bit more quiet, just say, I think we're really well. Maybe just fill our water here and there, but I think we're good with everything else. We just kind of want to talk. Okay. And when you do that, the waiters start to realize, wow, my tip is on the line. I better listen to what they say. So they don't spend a lot of time, coming back and forth. Do you want this? Are you ready to order? Are you not ready to order? That kind of thing. All right. So keep that in mind. Setting up the date is crucial. All right. And then once you're done off the phone, text them. Text them the time and the place once again, so it's in their text, it's set. I put it directly in my calendar. I have a tendency that I'd want to just email it to them, but I haven't asked them for their email usually. So typically I'll put it in my calendar, but I will text them. You can always say, would you like me to send you a calendar reminder? I just put it in my calendar, and sometimes they'll say yes. If so, then you can easily do that as well. But I usually just text it so I know they have it in their shoes. And this way it gives the ball into their court about, are they prepared? Can they show up on time, versus me always directing everything? So I think that was crucial, to really just kind of let them do that. But at least, communicate it clearly. And that was, we talked about it. I texted it. That's about as clear as I think I can get. Right. Okay, let's move on to dating. So, are you dating, or are you dating with purpose? Right? And this is key. I think there's a distinction between the most. Dating is just like you're always going out on dates and you're having fun and you're talking, but on the most part, you're not really connecting, you're not really finding out about each other. You're not really, aligning whether you're my soulmate or you're not my soulmate, right? I mean, and I think a lot of people just go out on dates. They're not actually dating with a purpose. So, how do you date with a purpose? Well, there's a couple things that I suggest that you definitely want to be clear on. So, you want to know what to do on the date to make it very purposeful. Okay. And what I mean by that is, you've got to, put yourself in an environment, like I said, where it's quiet, but you also want to prepare yourself, like, exactly what questions you want to ask. Okay. Now, it's important that you've planned that, because most of the time people don't plan what they're going to do on the date, kind of just go on the date and go with the flow, and where it ends is where it ends, and so on, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not purposeful. And if your goal is really to find your soulmate, then you want to be purposeful. You want to ask the right questions. You want to, really forward the conversation, so you don't have to wait till, date 5 to get to anything that's, vulnerable or meaningful, or significant in you choosing whether this is your soulmate or not. So I think that is crucial that you really plan out, like, what are the questions that you want to ask? And I can tell you the starting questions is definitely more about your top 5 qualities and what they've shared with you, and just have them go deeper into the conversation. Tell me more about, that you tell me more. You said you wanted to have a family. I mean, what prompted all of that for you? How long have you been wanting that? What does that look like for you? And you can go on and ask questions about that. And if you don't know what questions you're going to ask, you definitely want to just jump in and start to set those questions on there. And then you got to do the homework, right? Again, we talked about that earlier. Do your homework about the person so you know what questions that you want to ask. Make the date conversational, not interview, right? How many of us like go out on a date and it's like an interview? All right, are you done this? Do you have a good job? How long have you had that job? Do you make good money? Can you support me? Can you do this? They go on and on and on about, it's kind of like, man, am I getting drilled? Am I going to pass? Can I, you don't want the date to be like that. So make it conversational, really. And to make it conversational, you've got to be prepared, and you've got to practice and review those questions multiple times. All right. And then make the date meaningful for them. Like, really have that date meaningful for them. So the way I did that is I would actually, I try to find some sort of topic to talk about that would forward them around the word of love. So I'd find some sort of article or a book or something and talk about it, where it forward them about love and finding their soulmate. Whether I was the one or I wasn't the one, I wanted them to really be able to do that. And then you want to be honest with them and just tell them the truth. Like, be vulnerable. The more vulnerable you are, the more vulnerable they will want to be with you. So, and then of course, end the date with the next step. Always end the date like, this is a good fit. This isn't a good fit. I'd like to spend more time with you. What did you feel about, the date that worked? Did you feel there was a connection? If not, don't worry about going on a second date. You don't have to. Okay. So if they don't fit all of that, just say, it was a great time meeting you. I know I'll see you around because Susie introduced us, and I'm sure I'll see you at barbecue. So again, just share that with them. Be vulnerable, be straight. Don't say you're going to call them and not call them. I think too many people do that, both men and women. So definitely do that. All right. So I want to bring on my guest speaker. And I'm really excited about this because I told you a little hint last time that, we have someone that is a single parent. I think that's huge. So let me bring on my guest speaker. Dun, 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 dun. And hello, Trina.
Hello, Jeff.
How are you doing today?
I am great. How are you this morning?
I am doing fabulous, So, I want to first off just say thank you very much for taking time out of your day here to be with us, and really sharing your story and your journey on like what you learned. And I think that's very generous of you. So again, thank you very much for agreeing to this and coming on. And I know you were like open arms. You're like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. So, but thank you again for that. And I want to just kind of start and just say, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what you do and so on.
Okay. So, like you mentioned before, I am a single parent. I have two children. One of them's grown out of the house, and the other one is still at home in his fabulous teen years. I do work full time as a transaction manager, so I am constantly busy. And then for fun, I do acrylic painting and I watch cartoons.
Awesome, awesome. So, what's your favorite cartoon?
Right now, I believe it's called Star versus the Forces of Evil in the Universe. I don't know. It's a cute one. It's on Disney.
All right. So, are you chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream? Which one do you like?
Neither ice cream. It is all about the sherbet.
Ah, the sherbets. I should add that in there next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ice cream or chocolate, vanilla, or sherbets.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So I want to just basically just ask you a few questions. Whatever comes to mind, let me know. And these are some questions that people are wondering. Being a single parent and kind of going through the journey that you went through with our coaching. So what were you afraid of when you started working together with me, like in finding your soulmate?
Wow, you just don't hold back. Just go straight in for the deep end. My biggest fear was that because I'd been divorced, because I had had failed relationships, that I was going to fail again in front of my children, and that I was just going to continue to show them, unhealthy relationships, and that it tore me up. I just decided that I didn't want to date if I knew that the end was going to be a failure.
Mm.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. And I think, my wife was a single parent as well. And I know
Mhm.
that was her thing. It was that failure in front of your kids, and family. And I think that's a common thing that shows up, but it's an important thing. And then another thing around that I think is great, and you've mentioned this before, is like you're okay with failure, like you really work through that. And
Mhm.
I think that was very key in our conversations as well. Was there any particular problem that you were trying to solve, uh, during our process? Like, is there something that came to mind right in the beginning, or was it just something, in the beginning?
It was when you and I first started working together and talking about it, there was a process of discovering, you know, what it was that I did want to solve. And the biggest thing that I wanted to do was stop accepting less than what I deserved or what I wanted.
Mm.
Which was making these exceptions for these people in my life that, really just didn't deserve to be there.
Hmm. Yeah. And did that help you? Well, through that journey of that, I mean, what did you discover about that really kind of turned that over for yourself?
So you had me go through a very specific process where I talked to my friends and people that I was really close with, people that I valued their opinions. And one of the things that they all said about me was that I was extremely tolerant and
Mhm.
accepting. And I kind of took that as like a cue, like, oh, okay, so I'm accepting this. I'm allowing this type of behavior to continue in front of me. Um, and I was accepting of it. So through that process, I learned and had that aha moment of, well, if I don't accept this, if I'm not willing to accept this, it's not going to keep being prevalent in my life or being prevalent in the people I date. And that was where that light bulb came on and that aha
Mhm.
moment. And it was like, that was the game changer.
And
So.
how did that impact you then? Once you had that light bulb go off, I mean, how did that really impact you, either in dating and in other areas of your life as well?
Well, I'll do other areas first and then I'll jump into that dating side. But the other
Yeah.
areas was that it changed the way I parented completely. It really made me a better parent. At work, it kind of stopped a lot of these moments where I would get caught up in things or have to do other things for other people instead of saying, no, I can't do that. This is what I expect of you and this is what we're going to do. And then in the dating world, it saved me so much time. In the speech before this, you were talking to people about, cut it short at the end of that first date, or you're at coffee and you're not feeling it. Just cut it, man. There's absolutely no reason to waste your time or energy on it. And I got really good at telling men, like, I'm sure there's someone out there for you, but you're just not the right guy for me.
Yeah.
And
it's like, hey, I just want to be candid and
yeah,
frank with
absolutely.
you. And, I'd hate to linger things on. And I think a lot of people do that. So that was one thing I did enjoy when we were working back and forth, is that you were good with that. You started, now you weren't comfortable in the beginning, right?
Oh no.
You got good at that, as you went on multiple dates and so on. It became more and more comfortable for you near the end. I know in the beginning part, you're kind of a little fighting that sort of thing, but now you're much easier for yourself. And that was just the comfort thing,
It
Once
was.
or twice, you start to realize they respect that.
They did. There were several, and that said, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. There was even a few that I cut short in the middle of dinner, and I said, I'm willing to pay for the rest of dinner, but we can just talk as friends, because this isn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So.
That's great. That's great. So what was what was the one breakthrough or the thing that made the biggest difference on all the different, exercises and different things that we did, that really hit you the most? And there could be a couple. That's okay.
There were two. The first one was really, that first breakthrough was when I realized that I was actually originally dating to find someone to make me happy, to, fill some void in my life, and to bring that happiness to me. And when I took, we went through a huge process on that one. And when I started taking back that and looking back at it and going, my happiness is my responsibility. And if I'm being the best version of myself that I can be, if I'm putting out there the type of person that I want to be in a relationship, that it made all the difference. And I started living my entire life that way. It was, you said, making little progress forward. Like if you were at a level 2 and now you want to be a level 3, you got to get to 3 before you can get to 10. And so I just started putting these little things in place, putting them on my calendar, and taking time for myself and really developing who I was. But outside of being a mom and a transaction manager, what else could I bring to myself? What else did I have to offer? So that was one of them. That was one aha moment. That was a life changer. And then the other one, like I said, was when I talked to my friends, and it was brutally honest. It was it was good. It was, I know my best friend. I actually asked my best friend last of all. I went through all my friends. I started at a level,
right?
And the more closer I was to the friends, I had to get through some other friends first. Right. And then when I got to my best friend, and she was just like, I've heard through the grapevine you were doing this. I was wondering.
I was wondering when I was going to get this call.
Exactly. And then she was very candid and honest about everything. And it was just the way I perceived myself, the way other people perceived me, is what made, the largest impacts.
Yeah, absolutely. I got it. And what differed in our process, than what it was before, like talking with your family and your friends and people around you, how did this different than that,
So before, a lot of people, it's interesting because when you're dating, everyone has advice. Everybody has advice, good or bad. And a lot of people just kept saying, you're not ready to really date. Why don't you just go out, go have fun. Don't worry about introducing them to the kids. Just go do you. And it was, nobody ever gave advice like, what are you looking for? It's always just kind of like, oh, if you stop looking, they'll appear. And then the other one was my friends that had been single for a long time. They were jaded, and they gave like every time you would talk, even if I had a good experience, their experience would be like, oh, well, he's probably this kind of a guy, or he's probably going to do this down the road, or just, keep an eye on that one. So it
Right.
differed because I wasn't taking their advice, and I had
Mm.
I knew what I was looking for. So it made the difference in the process completely different. So.
Mm. Awesome. Awesome. And if you had your best friend, right,
Mhm.
on the fence of wondering, should I do something like this? Should I not do something like this? What sort of advice would you give them now that you've
I,
gone through everything?
I would look at them and say, here's the deal. When everybody needs help, we as a society look at relationships very differently than we do everything else. Relationships are something that just magically happen in movies, and there's these love affairs and all of this wonderfulness. But in the rest of our real life, when we're students, we have teachers and tutors to help us excel, to be better. When you have athletes, they have coaches. You have, when you're a patient, you go to a doctor, you seek advice. And you're not an expert on love, best friend. I'm sorry. You need to go to talk to somebody to really figure out exactly what it is that you are looking for, and let someone help you and coach you and guide you so that you can actually find it.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good advice. Very good advice. And now that you've found your soulmate, I mean, what is life like now for you?
It
Uh,
is
or how's it
completely
changed,
different. Completely different. I wake up every morning with a completely different sense of happiness. I wake up with knowing that someone is there who loves me, who is supportive of my decisions, who loves my children, who takes an active interest in my life, someone that is just genuinely wants to be there and loves us. Um, and it's made me so much happier. It continues to push me to still be my own individual person and
Mhm.
bring that stuff back into the relationship. So it's been the best. It's been the greatest love of my life, and that's exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I've noticed a lot of transition in you, and you've done it yourself. I just really acknowledge you for going through all that work to make yourself a better person, and more importantly, have that special person now in your life. So totally can see that. And you light up everywhere when you say that. So
well, thank you.
so how long did it actually take you to find your soulmate?
When I started dabbling, or when I got really serious about it?
And that's a good way to describe it, right? I mean, because
Yeah.
I know originally you it was a while back that you started, like, at least communicating that, but it wasn't until you really you, like you said, you really got purposeful or focused on
Yeah.
it. So
When I decided that I was ready to date with purpose, when I knew what I was looking for, when I knew what I wanted in the end goal, um, from that time till the time that I met Tristan, it was about 90 days.
wow. Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does. In the beginning, it sometimes takes a little bit before you're really 100% in, you're 100% clear. But hey, you've got to go through, you got to build your muscles up before you can just go, perform some muscle contest, so to speak. So,
Absolutely, you have to work at it. So
exactly. So that's great. 90 days. Congratulations. That's awesome. And is there anything else that you just want to share to everyone that's out there listening that would make a difference that we haven't talked about? Could be something else or whatever.
it would, I would say, just use just use you. It is. I mean, I know it sounds cheesy and corny, but when you take your family and your friends and they're part of the situation and they're the ones giving you advice, you're dealing with different personalities, different, experiences, all of their emotional baggage or what they've been through, what they've seen you been through. and they're kind of reliving in the past. And when I started working with you, I realized that my past was my past. I can't go back and change it. But what I can do is I can find the things that nourish my soul and make me feel amazing and be with the person I want to be with. And in order to do that, I just followed what we talked about and I did what we talked about and what we worked on. And it just makes all the difference. So,
Mm.
you wouldn't call your parents if you were an athlete, like I said, and ask them, hey, how do you do, this, switchback move or whatever. You'd call your coach. And so
Right.
that's exactly what you were. You were a coach. You still are a coach. But that's my suggestion would be just, to do that and then to not give up, to believe in yourself. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to cut that date short and say, hey, I appreciate your time. I'm sure we're going to run into each other, but this is just not what I'm looking for. So,
Mm. Yeah. Very, very good advice.
well, thank
Absolutely.
you.
Um, all right, one last question. What is your favorite date locations? Like, what did you find going out on dates? What were the best kind of locations? What worked, what didn't? Because today's topic is all about dating part. So, you know, what was it like
I
back then and what did you learn?
I agree. I think coffee places are still kind of a good place, but if you have some place that's quiet, someplace that you can talk, not super quiet like a library, but
Right.
someplace where there's actions going on around you, coffee shops,
Yeah.
ice cream parlors. I'm not a big ice cream person. We already talked about that. Uh, I am a pretty now I'm a beer aficionado. So I would say, a place that you could have and enjoy an adult beverage.
Yeah.
If you do that, I always have a suggestion: limit it to one, and
Yeah.
just tell them that, and leave that opportunity open to go to another location.
Yeah.
But you don't want it to be a bar on a Friday night. That's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. I think
yeah,
most of my dates were all Monday through Thursday, and that's it. I
yeah.
literally stayed away from the weekends unless, of course, I wanted to go on a second date with them or something like that. So,
Absolutely, yeah. Keep your Friday and Saturday
awesome.
nights open to do second dates or whatever.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so, so much again for taking your
You're
time out of
welcome.
today and sharing your story. And congratulations. And I want to keep in touch with you with all of this, and can't wait to hear everything else. All right.
Absolutely. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you. Woo-hoo. Okay. Good. All right. So that was Trina sharing her story around, what it's like to be a single parent going through all of this and really doing the steps. She went through the steps that you went through that I just shared with you through the home. You could probably even hear some of the things I thought, were interesting. What she was saying was exactly some of the things that I was talking about because she was really a good student. I mean, she did the homework, she worked on herself, she followed the process, and she really did what she had to do. And within 90 days of really buckling down and being serious, I mean, everything for her changed. So again, for yourself, you want to look, do I want it to, be dating on purpose, or do I just want to date? And I think that's today's topic. I think is huge for you to get. And don't forget, there's still one more day, so you can still sign up for the Soulmate Challenge. You can invite your friends, get them to watch it, have a party tonight or something, and watch them. Do whatever you got to do, and get yourself caught up with the homework. Because once you start doing this stuff, you're going to have a much higher probability of finding your soulmate. And who knows, you may find your soulmate immediately. I mean, I've had people find them within, a week, 2 weeks, just because something shifted that out opened up for them to see who their soulmate is. So let's see here. I want to go to Q&A really quickly and see if I can do that. Perfect. And let's see if I have any comments or questions that have popped up. Comments or questions? Let's see here. Not too many, but I have a couple that I pulled off Facebook I think would be great. Um, and let's see here. So here's one. Here's one that really stands out. So uh, this one really stands out. The question is, is there how many soulmates out there are there for me? And, and I really think the answer to that is thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands, maybe in the millions. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a big number. I don't think it's like the one, the only one. I think it's really there's really thousands out there. I think the thing that's key about that is like what Trina was talking is when I was dabbling or when I was serious. I think when you get serious, then you start to see those thousands of potential soulmates that are there and you start to recognize them. And then when you start to date them, you then have the ability to choose what's right for you. And I think that's very, very key. I think, but when you're dabbling, you just kind of out there. You're not really clear on anything. So the chances of finding that needle in the haystack becomes harder and harder. And even if you think of thousands and hundreds of thousands and maybe even a million compared to how many people are in the world, it's still a needle in a haystack. But there's a lot of them and there's a lot of them in your local area. You just have to really do the work, get yourself through each of these days, really do the homework, get yourself prepared, and date on purpose. And I think you'll find your soulmate much, much quicker. And so that's my question of the day that I thought was really good. Thank you, Arlo, for submitting that. I think that was a really, really good question. And let's wrap it up. And let me kind of summarize everything here. So, first off, we talked about dating with purpose, right? We also talked about like what do you do before the dates and what do you do on the dates. So, before the dates, you really want to qualify, make it short, make it precise. And, my advice is for you to start going through that and start mapping out what you're going to do. And that's really the homework that you need to do is start mapping that out. The homework is, start to put together what is the questions that I am going to ask? What are the steps that I want to follow? I mean, I had in my days, I had the little Palm Pilot, and I would type all my notes in and everything. In today's world, you got your cell phone, you can easily do that. But like, what are the steps? Like, if you had to prepare for a date, what are those steps? Start writing it out. Make your little checklist. Start preparing yourself so you do show up on purpose. Like, what are some of those questions you definitely want to ask? And and then really prepare yourself so that you're ready to go. Like, you're really going to make the date meaningful for them, meaningful for you, and you can move forward with that. Review your journal. So just a reminder, if you don't have a journal or anything that you're putting in your notes, get one. Go back through all of these, start writing your notes, putting them in, get that all in place. It's just crucial that you have a common place that you can go to really make that notes, to find everything and measure, how each date went and whether you want to go on another date or not. Find a journal or something to hold yourself in there. And I think writing is another key thing, versus typing. I think writing is always good, but whatever works better for you is there. So go back through that. Do your homework. We already talked about that, right? If you haven't done your homework, we set a clear slate. So now you can do your homework and get it all done by tomorrow when we do day 7. All right. Submit questions. Submit them here. Submit them in the comments. You can also go to my Facebook page and submit that. Do it on soulmatechallenge.com. Get that in and get those questions in so that we can answer those for you. If you want them to be anonymous, you don't have to put a name. If you want to, want me to share those and so on, definitely please do so. However it is, I love to answer questions, whether I do it live or whether I submit back to you. And join my Facebook page, right? YouTube subscriber, however that is, just again, go to soulmatechallenge.com to make that all happen. And lastly, but not least, don't forget to have fun, right? You should have fun doing all of this. You should have fun finding your soulmate. This is not something that should be like homework, like I have to do my math problems or I have to do my English work or anything like that. This is fun. This is your soulmate. You get to spend the rest of your life with. You get to elevate yourself. You get to do the things that make you happy and find that person that wants to do the exact same. And that's what this is all about, right? Our goal is for you to engage yourself back into the game of finding your soulmate, to light that flame and have it burn so that you can truly find your soulmate much quicker, like some of my other, students that have done this now. So it just really makes a huge difference when you can ignite that fire and really get into it and start, instead of dabbling, but really be serious about this. So I hope you jump in on that game. And I look forward to talking to you on day 7. All right. So make it a great day.